leader of Black Lives Matter, she was under a lot of controversy because she had bought a $1.4 million home, and it just came out yesterday that she spent $35,000 on backyard renovations for her home. Callers also used donations to pay a company owned by her baby's father, Damon Turner, $1 million for live production, design, and media, according to the group's latest filings with the IRS. She chalked up the reports on her properties and spending as right-wing bullying. Black Lives Matter took in $90 million following the 2020 murder of George Floyd. And the thing is, she spent $35,000 on just a fence around the property. And I'm not criticizing these people for generating an income. I'm criticizing people for allowing these people to generate incomes off charity. At the end of the day, this is a problem that affects a lot of organizations. NRA, they went bankrupt because the leaders were actually using the donation money to fund their lavish lifestyle. See, at the end of the day, Black Lives Matter exists for one particular reason, and that's to mount a resistance against police brutality. Liberal Democrats use the BLM as kind of like a weapon to make black people think that they are really for the black community, when in reality they're not. I mean, think about it, $35,000 just on a fence. I know that the inner city schools where I'm at are struggling, have new books. The schools barely get renovated when they have problems. They're underfunded, and $35,000 could go a long way, simply towards, education in inner city schools that are struggling. But like I said, man, the thing about it is people have to understand that we have to see results. Our communities are always the worst schools. They designed a term to describe inner city black Hispanic schools, and that term is dropout factory, because the school is producing dropouts at an alarming rate, graduates. And these are the systemic cultural problems that we need to change, and there is no organization that is doing that. Think about it. Black Lives Matter gets millions a year. All of these sororities and fraternities, they get millions a year. These churches get millions a year. I must give credit to some churches, because a lot of churches do help out the community. They assist people with their bills and stuff like that. Even if you aren't a member, there's a church in my area right now who's paying people's gas bill. If you're a member, they'll pay it in full, but if you're not, they'll pay a certain percentage of it. So there are churches out there that do things, but what I'm saying is there's not a coordinated effort between the sororities, fraternities, churches, Black Lives Matter to actually solve the systemic problems. If we can tackle, if we can fix our school systems and make them produce majority graduates instead of majority dropouts, we're winning. If we can start encouraging successful people to start businesses in their own communities so that the tax income, the tax revenue can be used to make that community better, then we're winning. But as long as we just expect these organizations to fight police brutality, then we're not really looking at the whole picture. You understand what I'm saying? And yeah, it's sad. These people live a lavish lifestyle. They become millionaires simply off charity. They have these organizations. They might have a few lobbyists in Washington, but they're not pushing no agendas that are really going to help the community. They're not pushing agendas to make the schools better. They're not going to Washington trying to force them to pass legislation that, makes the inner city school system well funded or make our neighborhoods safer. They're pushing legislation about police brutality because that's a issue that they can politic, promote, and brand like a product. That's easy, because when you talk about police brutality, it instantly causes a guttural reaction. So they're smart enough to know how to play these psychological games that draw us in. They know that if they were out there really speaking about the real issues, it'll be difficult. It'll be hard to do. But if you just mention police brutality, you get instant gratifications, you get instant anger, and they can actually promote that, take advantage of people, and pretend that they're fighting for them in terms of this issue. Just like the NRA scams their people into making them think that they really care about them, but in reality, they care about the donations. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not just Black Lives Matter. It's a lot of organizations out there that claim to be for the community, but they're really just a business. They're really just, an organization that exists to help out the political ambitions of a small few, the 1% yet again in control. Because these people who have these top positions in Black Lives Matter, the NRA, they're politically connected. Some of them have political ambitions. And it's just, yeah, man, like I said, I'm not against nobody being rich. I just don't understand, why can't they balance it out? If you're making millions of dollars from an organization that's supposed to be for the black community, why are our schools still messed up? You know what I mean? Why are our schools still considered dropout factors? Why is nobody talking about that? Why is not on the agenda? Why is it that when these sororities and fraternities meet, all these successful black people all over the world come to these events? Why is that not the top thing on the agenda? How can we make our schools produce graduates and not dropouts? How can we fund our schools? How can we bring our neighborhoods back and make them healthy again instead of food deserts where you can't even get healthy food? Everybody else owns businesses except us. How can we fix these issues so that we can fix the systemic problems, and that'll lead to an overall change? They don't talk about that because they don't care about that. They have selfish ambitions. You understand? Peace.